So, welcome back to my studio. Today, I thought we could do some play. And initially, what I wanted to do was work in my mixed media journal. It's actually just like this cheapo composition notebook that I've splattered paint in and played around with markers and things like that. But instead of doing that, I had this idea, and this idea was inspired by a tarot deck that I have. And it is called the Mother Peace Tarot, and I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, um, but it is a deck that was created in the early 80s. I think it was 1981. And this deck is a circular deck. So this is the deck. And the original cards are about twice this size. So this is considered a mini deck. And the cards are very, I would say, kind of primitive looking, but the colors and the idea of a deck that is very earthy and round really appeals to me. So, what I thought we could do today was create some affirmation cards together, or our own little oracle deck where you can pull a card and read the quote and feel inspired for the day. And when you actually create the cards yourself, they hold that much more meaning, and they also make really, really special gifts for people that you love. So um, I have all sorts of stuff pulled out. I don't know if we're going to use all of it, but I do know we're going to start with a piece of watercolor paper, and this is an 11 by 15 Strathmore watercolor paper. I don't believe it's 100% cotton. It's just an inexpensive spiral pad you can see here. And we're going to do both sides. So this side is going to be the back of the card. And what I would like to do is just create some watercolor leaves. And it's going to be like a mishmash kind of leaves. And we're going to experiment with some colors. And I have my palette pulled out right here. And the colors I'm using are Daniel Smith Permanent Brown, Dioxin Purple by Core, and I've got a Cotman Sepia, Davy's Gray, and that's a Grumbacher Academy, another Daniel Smith, that's Neutral Tint. This is Green Apatite Genuine by Daniel Smith, and then we've got a Winsor and Newton Opera Rose. I don't know if I'm going to be using all of these together. I might. We'll see. But we're going to keep it very limited as far as the palette goes, and very kind of nature based. I do have some of my metallics pulled out, and I'm going to give these, and I just blobbed some water on my paper. I'm going to give these a little head start here and get some water on them so they're ready to go if I decide to use them. And these are the watercolors by Lissalinka, and they're beautiful, beautiful metallic watercolors, very shimmery. So, okay, I'm going to grab a mop brush, and I think I'm going to use a small one. And I have a bigger brush, but what we're going to do is we're going to do some leaves and get some fresh water over here. And I'm going to let my brush make the leaves for me. So, what I mean by that is here's a little scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to grab some of this green, and I'm just going to push my brush down, and let's do that again. Push my brush down and then come up. This needs some more water in it. So I can push it down and then pull it up. And you can make really long leaves. Just push it down and then pull it up. And you can try it the other way too. So start with the tip, and then as you're pulling, start pushing down like that. So we're going to create some randomness here with some leaves. And since my cards are going to be circular, and I'm going to do that by using this circle punch, this is how big the cards are. So I want to think about, the size of the leaves that I'm making. I don't want these gigantic leaves. I want something a little bit smaller so that it reads, it's not too huge for this circle, so it still reads like leaves. Basically, we're creating our own little pattern here. And I'm just going to use a mix of colors. And I'm going to drop colors in. And maybe we can start by um, just making a stem like that. And then we'll just do some leaves like this. And maybe I'll pick up some other colors just to keep it interesting. This is a neutral tint. I haven't activated that pink yet. Let's see. Oh, I've got some water going in there already. I couldn't even see it. Maybe I'll drop some pink in there. And once you start mixing these on your paper, they're automatically going to um, kind of get muted because they're mixing with other colors. So and the key with something like this is to make sure that you've got a lot of water in your brush, which is why it's important to use a good watercolor brush, because if you don't, um, you won't get the same, your brush, if it doesn't have the ability to hold water, um, it's a struggle. But you want to make sure that your brush is nice and, you know, filled with paint and water. I'm gonna drop some purple in here. And what's nice about adding purple with green is that um, creates a nice neutral, creates a nice brown. Add some more to kind of tie all of these together. Maybe we'll drop some green in there. Okay. So I'm going to do this in all different directions, and I'm probably going to speed this up a little bit because it's a little bit of a process. And I will say that I am standing up for this, and that's just so that I have a little bit more movement with my arm. So So while I was drying this, I was thinking to myself that I think I really want to add some details to the leaves, and they're not going to be super overdone. I just wanted to add some quick veining. That's my dog sneezing over there. In case you hear weird noises, it's usually her. Um, so on some of these dark leaves, I have this light colored metallic, and I think I need a smaller brush. So I'm going to use a 0 and grab some of this. And the nice thing about creating um, these papers like this, um, once you cut these up, it takes on a whole new kind of a feel. And it's a really fun way to play and then have something at the end of it that you can use. And I think this metallic will be really pretty. I have to say that I wasn't too sure about the palette that I picked. And what I'm loving so far is actually this permanent brown with the purple in it and some of that sepia. It's, I think, a new favorite color combo. Let's see what this. I don't think I want to use gold. Actually, I think I'm going to stick with some of these other colors here. And you don't have to do every leaf in detail. You can add you can add some of the metallic if you want, or not at all. You can even go in with a white gel pen, and you can also use metallic gel pens too. I have a ton of those, and that's an option if you don't have these metallic paints. I just um, I wanted to get into the habit of using these because they're really beautiful. I'm going to try this silver on the purple and see what we get. It's so pretty. And I feel like if I use a certain color on one part of this, then I have to use it on some other parts as well. You don't want it to look disjointed, and you don't want to have this color, just like some random color in here that um, you don't find anywhere else. So this kind of helps unify, and you can do this in any sort of painting that you do. Try to add it like in 3 areas, and that'll help tie it together. I'm just doing this really loose. And I think we'll add some on these. So I think I might add something to the pink up here, and I think I might let that be it. So this is kind of a rose gold. This is the same color that I spattered all over. There we go. So I'm going to hit this with the dryer again, and then we'll start on the other side. Okay, so we are on the flip side of the paper. The other side is pretty dry, and I think I'm going to spray my paper with some water, and that will help for it to lay flat too. So, and I really love that color combo that I talked about on the other side, which was kind of surprising to me. I wasn't expecting to like it at all. I was looking at my palette thinking, I don't know if this is really going to work. So I'm going to start off with some of the permanent brown, and I am I'm just going to add this like in some random areas. And this is going to get messy. I'm going to tip the paper, I'm going to spray water on it, and I'm going to add a bunch of colors to it. And I'm trying to remember what we did on the other side. So it was a combination of the brown, purple. That's what it was. Purple and some pink. And you get a really a good sense of which one of your paints will travel well. So this dioxine purple is a good traveler. So I'm going to pick up some of this pink. And I've got this whole puddle of neutral tint. And I think I want to tone some of this down a little bit. And even though watercolors dry lighter, um, we still want to be able to see our writing that we're going to be doing. So I don't want this to get too dark. And I am going to spray this a little bit. Just to keep the paint moving. And I am just grabbing pretty much whatever colors I can find in there. And that purple, that dioxine purple, I believe is from Core, and they are known for their vibrant colors. So we'll see how vibrant it stays once it's dry. Right? There is a part of me that wants to take up this whole palette and just pour it on the paper. We need some other colors in there. This purple is like overtaking everything. I'm gonna get out some of this sepia. And I want this side to be interesting, um, but still cohesive. I'm going to tip my paper so that it starts running. You just have to be careful that if you keep it tipped too long, when the colors run, they start to blend together, and you don't want them to blend together so much that you just have like a muddy color on your paper. I'm just going to do some splatters here. We're going to try to make it look a little grubbier. And you can create some more interest by putting salt down if you'd like. I am too impatient for salt. Um, so something else you can do to create some texture is you can take a paper towel and just lightly dab and pick up some of the watercolor, or you can take just some plain water and flick it onto the surface, and that'll create a salt-like kind of a texture too. I find that with salt, the best way is to, for me anyway, to lay the salt down when it's really, really wet and let it dry naturally. I have a tendency to be impatient and I'll use the blow dryer on the salt and I think it's dry and it's actually not. So when I go to brush it off, there's still pigment underneath the salt that's wet and I end up smearing. So that is why I don't reach for the salt. I do most of it with my brush like this and just some plain water. And you can keep doing this until you get something that looks good to you. And the only thing I want to make sure of is I don't have any glaring white spots. But I think that looks pretty good. I think it looks like a field of wildflowers. I think I'm going to add a couple more purple spatters over here. And purple is my favorite color, so um, you'll probably see it a lot in these kind of videos where we're doing a lot of play. Okay, so that's pretty much that. I'm going to let this dry, and then the next step after this is to cut it up. I'm going to have to cut these in strips in order to make the most out of get the most circles out of this, because this won't go all the way into the center. So I'm going to have to cut these out in strips to get the circles, and we'll do that when it's dry. Okay, so I cut these into 4-inch strips, and this is what I've got left over. So these are going to be the size of my cards. It's a 3.5-inch punch. And what I like to do is when I'm punching these out is to stick the card, whatever I'm punching, so that I can kind of see what I want. You know, and I'm trying not to waste too much of this. I do have a smaller punch, so I'll be using this smaller piece that I have with the smaller punch. Well, that's how I like to do that. And let's see. I think I like that right there. And I have a bunch of circle punches, so none of this will go to waste. Let's see if this is, I don't think this is enough. Well, maybe it's just enough. Okay, so we have these now, and I have my quotes over here. And I think we'll do a couple of different things. I want to check out these transfers, if that is what they are. And when I said in my introduction video for this channel, we're going to be exploring things together. And for me, I'm not gonna pre-do a lot of the stuff that I want to share, because I think it kind of takes away from the mistake aspect too. I've learned so much by just the mistakes that I've made and how to fix them, and I want you to, you know, feel like it's okay to just play, and it doesn't have to turn out perfect, and it doesn't have to sometimes it's not going to look good, and that's just the way that it is. And I want to be authentic on this channel and bring to you the things that I love to do, and even if I'm trying them out for the first time. So this is one of those things, and I think this is a transfer. Violets are my favorite flower, so let's hope this comes off the sheet correctly. Uh, okay. I don't know what this is. Is it a transfer? I'm a little bit at a loss here. I thought that these were like rub-on transfers, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I think that the adhesive on the back, it's just supposed to be like a um, collage element. So I think what we can do is, oh, that's pretty, okay. I think what I'm going to try to do is maybe cut the bottom of this off. And I'm going to stick this on here, and then I'm going to add some matte medium over it and see if it will disappear um, onto the background here. And usually with tissue paper or napkins, it will just completely disappear, and that's not what that's doing. So I'm going to get rid of that, and it's a shame, really. And I think the rest of these are like that as well. I mean, they're really cute, right? So I think we're gonna just pivot here, and we're gonna try something else. But you know what we can use these for? We can use these for inspiration. And we're gonna get out our pens. And I think we'll do a couple of these. I think it'd be really cute. So I have my Micron pens here. And we can just start, pick a flower, or we're gonna pick a plant. We can go with something like that, or something like that. And I'm probably going to put my quote over here. So, and if you look at this close up, it's kind of got these double petals coming out. So we've got here. I'm going to do these really sketchy at first. Okay, I think I'm going to keep this one pretty simple. And I feel like I should have made that flower a little bit bigger, but so I have this quote right here, and it says, every flower is a soul blossoming in nature. So I am going to get my little ruler and I can grab a pencil and very lightly make some lines on here for myself, just so that it doesn't get too wonky. So I think I'm going to do 3 lines. I can see them. I know on camera is probably not going to show up very well at all. And then I will grab my pen. And I think I'm going to grab a 02 for this. I think maybe I'm going to add a few more flowers down at the bottom. And I can grab one of these and use that for something to look at, really. I kind of like this one up in the corner. I don't know if you can see that. It's super tiny. Or something like that. I want this one to be the kind of the focal point. So the rest of these are just going to be like supporting actors, I guess. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to keep it like really sketchy at first. And you can do that by holding the pen kind of on its side and don't, tighten up your grip. Just keep it kind of loose and sketchy. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't want to play on this watercolor paper, but It's really funny sometimes when you're doing something like this. Um, and like I said, I didn't do a practice run of this because I don't want to do practice runs on this channel. I want to keep it really, really real so that you can see, like, the down and dirty of creating, because that's what it's about. And I think I'm just going to get on my soapbox here for just a second. I think in this day and age that everything is so polished and so um, overproduced, and there are no flaws. And we're human beings. We aren't machines. And I think that the whole AI movement, while I do use it, and I use it for things like writing descriptions or to help me with ideas, those kinds of things. But as far as creating, and it's a very human kind of thing, it's not. It doesn't feel right as far as computers and machines go, as far as I'm concerned. And with the prevalence of AI and AI generated art, there is I think, some sort of a misconception by people that they think that when they sit down to create, maybe that's what it should look like. It should be perfect, or they want to spend 10 minutes on something and create a piece that's flawless. And while I'm here to say that mistakes are fine, that's how you learn, and you can come up with um, new ways of applying paint by making mistakes and covering up mistakes. And it really reduces your fear too, when you know that you got this, you can handle it. And so what if you make a mess, or you come up with something that you don't really like at first? It's okay. It's okay. We're not here to create things that are perfect. We are not perfect. Nothing is perfect. And I think we need to start embracing that and quit perpetuating this idea that everything should be super polished and super, um, you know, super perfect, basically, because it's just not how it goes. It's just not real. And that is one of the reasons that I wanted, like I said, um, to keep this channel real. I don't want to present something to you that I spent 2 hours practicing, and then I come on here and act like it's the first time that I've done it. I do not wanna do that. So, um, like I said, not to say that I haven't made oracle cards before, but not like this. Um, so we're gonna keep it real, and that's my soapbox, the speech for the day, I guess. Um Now, I know that, trying to go back in here with watercolor and adding green or some color, I don't think that it'll look all that great because we have a background on here already, and it will just completely mute the any color that we put on here. So I think maybe this might be better left like it is, unless we wanted to add some white. And I don't think that I do. I kind of like it like this. One thing that I was thinking about was maybe adding some sort of a border to this, and maybe we can do some dots. I just want it to be something really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some. dots. So I think that's pretty cute. And we've got our vibrant background, and that would be great. We could just put that in a little bowl or something. And now for the next one. Let's see. Now we can decide what we want to do with this. And I do have some of my pressed flowers here, and I have leaves too. And I think I might, maybe I will do one of these leaves. I mean, this one's pretty big. I have to say, I do love these. And I've got a couple of these really delicate ones that I think would work really well. Like this. Now, I don't know how well my matte medium is going to hold those down because I've never, I don't think I've used that for this. That's gorgeous, right? Mm, okay, I was looking for this little guy right here. I think these two would be really cute together. All right. Maybe we should do one that's a little bit darker so that these show up better. So, and I think I'm going to cut this one down because it's just a little bit too tall. Yep. So I'm going to start with a layer of matte medium, and then I'm going to put some on top. So I am just going to add a thin layer right here just to get it stuck to the card. So I'm going to put that one aside, and hopefully that will dry the way I want it to. And we'll move on to another one. Something I did want to try too is that I've got a bunch of distress ink, and I thought it might look kind of neat if we distress the edges a little bit. So I like the way that that looks. It creates a little bit of a kind of like a vignette. I do have some stickers here too. Um, Maybe we will try one of these. And maybe we can figure out a way to kind of meld this into the background so that you don't really see the edges too much. Okay, so this distress ink works pretty good for kind of melding this butterfly into the background. And this is what I mean. Like, I didn't know, I was thinking about taking some white acrylic paint or something and thinning it out, but this seems to be working pretty good. And I'm going to go just like right on top of the butterfly. Now I'm wishing I had some distress ink that was pink or purple. Okay, so we have to pick a quote. And I think I'm going to pick the one that says, it's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It says, nature always wears the color of the spirit. So I think that'd be perfect for a butterfly. And since I put this butterfly right in the middle, I have to decide where I'm going to put this quote. So I can do like, nature always wears the spirit, wears the colors of the spirit. So we can do something that's vertical like this, or I was thinking even we could go maybe around in a circle. So let's start here. I don't know if that's what I want to do. Okay, I've got this penciled in, and I have, I think, a sepia colored Micron, and that is what I'm going to use for the text. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of fake calligraphy here. And basically what that means is whenever you're using a calligraphy nib, you know, like something like this, when you're writing, the downstroke is always thicker. So since we're not using a calligraphy pen or a fountain pen, we're going to fake it. So on all of the downstrokes, I'm going to thicken, I'm going to thicken up the line like that. It's a great little cheat. Okay, so I've got most of my lines erased pretty good, or my penciled in text here. And the last thing I want to do on this card is to add some metallic, and I'm going to add some, I think I'm going to add some gold or this bronze. I think it's going to be the gold. Okay. Okay, it is really hard to not get carried away with the metallic. Um, so you can see what I did. I just added a little bit of gold to the butterfly, filled in some of the letters with the gold, and then added some dots. And I love this. I think this looks really great for as quick and as easy as it was to make. So there we have two cards, and you could actually um, when you're trying this out and you're doing different cards, I mean, these two have a very different look. So you could do a whole series of cards that had just, like this theme, or a whole series that had this theme, and, y- you know, build all sorts of oracle decks or affirmation cards for yourself, or, like I said, for other people. I wanted to take a look at this and see how this was doing. And I think it's going to be dry enough now. This will be the last one that I do. And I think we'll just put a little quote in here um, to finish this one off. Okay, so that one is finished, and I do like the way that it turned out, and I'm hoping that these stay adhered, and it looks pretty good so far. They're not super thick plant material, so I think it will be okay. Um, I really like the way these turned out, and especially this one. Um, I wasn't feeling too good about this butterfly simply because I didn't know how I was going to blend it into the background, but it worked out nicely. And even though this one looks a little bit different because of the coloring, um, keep in mind that you can always tie these things together by using, the same type of writing, the font that you're using, the lettering the style that you're using, and then stuff like the gold that goes all the way through, or the metallic that goes carries all the way through. And of course, we have the back of the cards, which ties it in also. So I hope you give this a try. And if you don't feel like doing a big card, you can always do these little ones, and you don't have to make circles. You can make rectangles. You can just use a paper cutter and cut out rectangles. Um, if you don't want to do quotes, you can do single words on here. You can use something like hope or love or meditate or peace. You can even write action words on here for your art practice, like sketch or scribble or anything like that. Um, so the possibilities for this are really pretty wide open. But I do hope you give it a try. And if you like doing this kind of stuff and you like hanging out and doing no pressure, creative type things, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you'll get notified whenever I release a new video. So, like I said, have fun and happy painting. I will see you in the next video.